Hey guys, this is Titan War Finals for July 2015. The BRs are going to look a little funny here for my team for Scoon, Shock, and Ballwin. They don't have their U-Demons on at the moment. In prelims, they did keep the U-Demons on, and their BRs were around 1.4 million for Shock and Scoon, and then Ballwin I think was around 1.1, 1.2. I'm up to 2.22 million BR with pots and scrolls. I kept my U-Demon on because my U-Demon, especially once I'm potted, has quite a bit of BR and stays up pretty well. So we kept Panda along with the group. I messed up the formation, which I'm always so forgetful about it, so it's amazing that I ever get it right. But so Shock is still in the front for this first fight. We get Master Hermes bunch, so Hef, Johnny Walk, and Kavla as well. A really strong team, definitely a contender for first place. They also have a bunch of these Ballwin buffs on. Master Hermes has 3. Looks like who's back there? Hef has, I think, 5. No, Hef has 0 buffs. Kavla has 5, and Johnny has 6 of them. So a pretty pricey bunch. So there's not much I can do here. I think we always had a good laugh throughout this entire thing. I was giggling in Ballwin's ear the whole time because we were on the call and I just could not control myself because I was dying so badly. I mean, that's just disgusting. So anyway, we have a fun time regardless. I was saying, do we get any prizes for almost being the worst team in finals? And the answer is no. But yeah, so a very competitive bunch here, and the buffs, I mean, make it even more difficult. I don't really see why any of the groups that don't have a chance of contending for first even bother with the buffs, but they do. I guess, you know, it's gonna happen no matter what. People want to do it. They have a lot of bound balance from the recharges, so I think they feel less like it's a huge cost if they're using bound balance. But those bound balance are a great thing to spend on advanced Mahra, and so for me, I don't really see quite the appeal of buffing up here. So none of my team has any Balin buffs, and there are a few other teams that also go free, I guess. So here's Azrakan, Ors, Groot, and Zion, another strong team. In particular, Osri is quite tough, and Groot with that water pet. I do have quite a bit, well, not quite a bit, but a few water resistance crystals here, which actually turned out not to be a great idea. When I was doing the prelim videos, I was seeing a lot of water pets, and so I was very concerned, and so I protected against water this time around. But turns out that the wind pets were way more annoying, so I should have probably just kept on some wind resistance. So no wins yet, bit of a blowout, but then we get one team that's missing 2 people, so Braidsy and Yoji, and I'm pretty sure that the strongest person that's supposed to be on this team is 188 bet, and he's not there, so I think that's very tough for them. So that's a good thing that they didn't buff up if it turns out that their team was just DCing or something, but I guess it's maybe just a schedule conflict or something. So here, you know, we should be able to manage. I think Bwin struggles against pretty much any of these teams, because all of these people, I mean, all of these teams pretty much have somebody who's going to be probably top 20, but cross server, and if not, then they have many people who are in the top 100. So very competitive bunch. So 1 win. So we're very glad some victory, but it's not the greatest, the most feel-good victory. Actually, I mean, really none of our victories in this entire thing are that feel-good, because we either win in the dumbest way possible, or we win because people are missing players. So it's not like, yay, victorious, but you know, we managed. We had a good time, and we kind of knew what we were getting ourselves into. You know, there's probably several teams that are far more deserving of being in Warlord's Hall than our team, who ended up having to be in Warriors Hall. So we just kind of take it as a blessing that you know, the rewards are better even just getting into Warlord's Hall. So that was pretty much the goal. So here's Arlie, Cindy, Casway, and Tayton. And it looks like all of them have 1 buff except for Arlie, who has 3. Arlie's the strong. Oh, well, actually, between Arlie and Cindy, I'm not sure who has more BR. Probably Arlie. All dark pets, which is pretty much most of our team because Bwin dies, you know. Bwin's lucky if he gets into Sylph mode against this caliber of players. When we were in Warriors Hall last month, he was able to live a little bit more, but now he's really just suffering. I was teasing him that you know, he can do the recording for this video because he's not gonna be able to do much else. But here we got Killbot, Beatdown, Zolfia, and Sweets. Zolfia's a familiar name for me. I saw her in Class Wars for when I was in Warriors Hall a couple of times. I think she's close to being able to make Warlords Hall, but maybe not quite. And then Killbot is always at the very, you know, one of the top people in the cross server and one of the top knights, but they don't have any of the Ballwin buffs, so this is actually a much more fair fight than at least a lot of them, and because at least it's, you know, neither of us are buffed up, so there's no sort of Ballwin advantage there. That said, you know, for sure they have more BR than we do. Shock is strong, Scoon is strong, Bwin is, you know, definitely a much lower cash level. He, you know, does not cash a lot. But yeah, so, but even so, you know, Shock and Scoon get outclassed quite a bit. So I'm really the only person who's able to deal a lot of damage to these top players. So that said, when there's a few of them on a team, it's very, very rough. So in a bit of a pickle, I had my Guardian rune out. I'm already out of Sylph mode. And got a couple Delphics, so there's Zolfia's Dark one, and then got Killbot's Electro one, which is going to be big trouble. And somehow Shock and I were timed in such a way that we die in a very good way, I guess you could say, because we managed to both come back. So I think that means Shock already died once, and then I must have died just before her, so I could come back. So the ring's really helping there. Almost about to die, but there's only 2 seconds left, and we win. And so really we should have lost. I think Shock said she had like 1,000 HP left, and you know, Bwin's very excited. We're all really, really excited about that because we were starting to realize how we can win. I kind of had an idea that it would be okay if, you know, we left the U-Demons off, and then if we are able to survive to the end, which is not that easy to do against some of these stronger teams, that we could win the fights, and so we managed to do that. So basically, because we don't have the U-Demons on, we're in a position that we can basically just try and live, and if we manage to live to the end, then we can win. So that's, I don't think most of the teams at the time knew that, but it's probably a strategy that people can use in the future. So here's Enchantress, who of course is always one of the top knights. Between her and Miranda, it's always one of them. And John Doe, Jeans is never, you know, it never seems to have like a huge BR. I think it's probably like 1.4 or 5 unpotted, but I mean, that's still very high, but at least comparatively. But he always has the water pet on, which can be a bit of trouble. Still stuck at 2 wins, and in 13th place. You know, if we thought if we could get 5 wins, maybe we could manage top 10, but you know, depending on how the numbers work out, that doesn't always go our way. But for at least for me, I was aiming for 5, but it didn't look that promising at the beginning. Here I say, be gentle. That's to my friend Solara, and he has, you know, of course, one of the most competitive teams. It's really between his team and Master Hermes, which is the one with Heffalump and Kabla and Johnny Walk. And let's see how many does Solara have. Solara has 7 buffs, so that's really big and very scary when he has a win pet. I'm of course trying to get my Guardian rune, and I get it, so I'm able to deal with his steal, and probably one more hit, so one more turn on my Guardian rune. So there, eat the wind elfic. But now that my guardian rune is gone, it's time to die. I don't even think they need Solara for that. Yeah, I'm done for. Lambo also has quite a few buffs. So 2 wins still, and 8 fights to go. Got another team that's missing somebody. I think they must. I'm not quite sure what Catnip's BR is, but I feel like she's probably the strongest out of the 3 here, or maybe Percival in order. I think they're all reasonably, like, definitely like on the lower end of the top 100 maybe. I don't know. And but whoever they're missing, I feel like it's probably a big addition to their team. Blinn does seem to get out a decent number of shields before he inevitably dies, but this time around, because there's less power coming at us, he makes it into Sylph mode. He still used Mars Will in this, which always makes me a little bit nervous bringing Mars Will. The last time Mars Will kind of backfired and I was the only one with it left on, and because of that I ended up taking all of the damage that would have otherwise been spread between 4 players at least. So yeah, it's a little bit scary. It can be a double-edged sword. There's a fire pet. So we manage. And we'll take any victory at this point. We're getting so beat up so bad that the little things. So Blinn saying that we're 10th at the moment with 3 wins, so we'll take it. Here's Ice Princess, Grinny, Sensei, and Bosco. So these are all people who I generally one-on-one would be okay against. So we're of course just taking the approach of trying to live. Generally if you see me in group arena, I leave the vast majority of the healing to Shock or to Panda, my U-Demon. But here I definitely tried to help out a bit more with the group heals, just so that we could survive a little bit longer. Since that was pretty much our only approach to winning, is to live. Looks like is Bosco in the front? Yeah, it is, and he has 5 buffs, but maybe not that many on the others. From what I can tell, I mean, definitely the top number of buffs is just an insane number of Balins, but the first 3 are maybe a little bit more tolerable if you're really pushing for the win. I think the first one is 1,000, the second is 1,500, and the third one is probably double that at most. So that's somewhat tolerable, but I think after that it gets a little bit excessive. Oh, Shock barely makes it. Oh, she didn't make it, never mind. So I'm just trying to heal through this. So we have another 30 seconds to go in the fight. We're at the 100% bonus, so they are dealing quite a bit of damage, but if I can just live through all of their attacks, we're going to be just fine. Get into Sylph mode, which is probably the best way to survive, just because I take so much less damage because of my Power of Darkness passive once I'm in Sylph mode. So we manage. I mean, we all got a pretty good laugh out of the fact that this is how we're winning, but it is what it is. This time we have who's Alexis, Rono, Ariel, and Card. A strong team from Kong 1. I don't think they're buffed much. Ariel has 1, but I think that's it. And so that's pretty much even as far as buffs or BR goes. Ariel, I think, is behind me in stats, so maybe she's close to my BR once she's buffed up with one of them. Rono's got a big light pet, but I'm protecting quite a bit with light crystals. I have a full set of light crystals on because I know light and dark are going to be the biggest problems. Ariel's bringing her Goddess of Prosperity though, which is a little bit of a problem since I don't have much wind resistance on. My dimensions are just dreadful right now, so it's kind of a problem for Titan Wars where there's so much mixed elements. So got that one in the back. Shock is barely hanging on. Not sure if I used my E yet or not. I think Scoon DC'd a few times, so that's how he ended up in the front. But we're in good shape. Got another 35 seconds to go in the fight, and Shock and I are still around and in full health. And we got a couple chaoses out. I'm not sure how we have that many chaoses on them, since I don't have a chaos with me. Maybe Scoon got one out once, right before he died. And so we win. So that's our 5th win. So we were, I know I was pretty pleased about that. That was the goal for me, was to get 5 wins. And we did manage. Here's Wing, Cambo, Atroxia, and this is terribly hard to read on my screen. Arisi, something like that. But Wing is for sure one of the top knights. She has well over 2 million BR, like myself. And then Atroxia is definitely up there as well. So these are some of the big Kabam players. Also, I didn't protect against Electro at all, so the moment that I saw anybody with an Electro pet, especially the bigger players, I knew I was in big trouble. They have some buffs on, but they just did the single buff, which I can understand. A lot of people probably want to just do that one single buff to try and, I don't know, eke out a win or two. That said, just know every single time you buy one of those buffs, you're giving up something potentially pretty nice. You know, most people don't have. Well, okay, there are 7 red sylphs cross-server in my cross-server now, but for the most part, you know, people aren't going to be getting red sylphs anytime soon, so I highly recommend hoarding bound Balins and trying to get them that way. So again, you know, I'm doing the Blessed Lights. Here it's going to be pretty rough. We're up against Cypress, my buddy Darkhawk Mage, and their team with Dark Kelly and Dark Knight. But Cypress has, I think, 6 or 7 buffs on. Yeah, he has 7. And that's really, really bad news. He's already very strong, and when he has that many buffs on, I mean, he would probably be able to wipe out my whole team on his own. So yeah, no, they deal with us swiftly enough that there's no real chance for us to try and live a whole 2 minutes and 50 seconds against this group. I think Scoon is in a bit of shock from how much they're dealing, because I don't think he's used to seeing me lose this badly. But this is just a completely different monster. It'll definitely be interesting. You know, there's some really big power couples out there. You know, Shock and I think, and I can probably do pretty well in an upcoming event, which is for couples, which I think will be really fun. But you know, we'll see how it goes. I don't know. You know, some people just want to, you know, pair up with somebody who's their good friend. For me, you know, Shock is by no means a chump partner on my server. She's quite strong. Definitely like top 5 players, and so I think we can do quite well, but there will definitely be some couples that have, you know, close to 2 million BR each. Here's Kenshin, Conan the D, Fear, and Tire, something like that. And so this is actually the team that Ballwin and I wagered on. So we had to wager on 7th place, and I guess we just decided, I don't know, I actually just followed Ballwin because it was 6 minutes before Titan War Finals was about to start, and so I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna overthink this. Who did you wager on to get 7th? And so I just followed his wager, and And so, yeah, that actually turned out really well, but so we'll see that at the end. But even so, you know, whoever's going to play 7th is a team that we're going to have trouble against. And these guys are pretty strong. I'm not quite sure who has the most BR on this team. You know, Fear probably once upon a time was the strongest out of the bunch, but I think Kenshin and Conan, definitely Kenshin probably is up there. Yeah, so if I can't get a Delphic out, like, it's not even their kids die. And some of these kids have really big resistances. A lot of, you know, some of them have a ton of dark resistance. So, not even a Sylph AoE necessarily will take them out. Bunch of chaos is there, and debuffs. Got a couple of rage steals, so I probably have to E as soon as possible. Shock usually leads with a Fury, so I try to keep an eye on her if she gets chaos, but if I see it a little bit too late, then sometimes I screw up and don't Fury her in time. The rings are really nice that way, though. And now we've got Byron, Danahi, probably Danahi, I don't know. But those two are definitely very, very strong. And then their support is probably up there with maybe close to Shock and Scoon. Not quite sure there, but we've got some nice support with a Goddess of Prosperity, and then a couple of Hecates, which of course, well, actually, I think it's called Hera now, but anyway, it was Hecate at the beginning, so so that's a nice combination right there. Oof, those wind sylphs. Even if it's a player who's considerably weaker than myself, a bit of a problem. And there we go. So if these guys can deal with us swiftly, there's not a whole lot of risk. So we're dropping in the rankings a bit. I think the highest we were at was maybe 9th, and then it just slowly sort of trickles away, because I think we were stopped at 5 wins. Here's Donkey, Strat, Warbird, and Shady. They're our last fight. I knew they'd be our last fight. I was kind of looking for them while we were playing, and since we were at our last one, they hadn't showed up. Just process of elimination. This is the server that I really want to get merged with. They're probably, at least at the top, for the top players, the most competitive Kabam server. Well, actually, there's one that just got merged. I think 15, 25, 55, and some other ones got merged, but there are a bunch that I would really like to see merged with my server. My server's really just suffering right now, so need some fresh blood. And I thought these guys were definitely contenders for the win, but it looks like they probably just didn't buff up enough. You know, just really strong across the board. Probably the highest average BR out of the bunch, actually. So that was our last fight, and we actually won our wager. Since when I did the same one, as we were very, very happy about that. Bwin didn't put any Valens into it, but I put in, you know, whatever to fully wager or maximum wager. So we got our little buff for the server, and I got 3,600 for 12th place, and then 13,822 for winning the wager. So I was very, very happy about that. I can very comfortably get that Azure Deer. Yeah, I didn't get that last time because I forgot to wager. And then we have the Empire Trunkions as well. That really seems like the best place to get them. I don't think I'm going to be bailing the wager anymore. I'll just try and slowly get the Trunkions. But I did want to get enough for the rank 4 medallion before Class Wars. So there I'm just showing that had we placed 13th, we wouldn't have gotten as many crystals, so we just made it. You know, I would have liked to seen 10th place, which, you know, if the wins had stacked up a little bit differently, we could have maybe gotten 10th place, but didn't quite manage. So yeah, pay up a bunch of insignias and rank up my medallion, and so that'll help a little bit, or at least even things out a bit more against those top players. So thanks for watching. I should probably title this Elia Dies a Lot with Her Friends, but I had fun anyway, so I hope you guys had a good time in Titan Wars as well. I'll catch you guys in Class Wars next week. Take care and have a very good day.